Editing an object, once it's on your work plane, is pretty easy, and there's a lot of options that I have when editing these shapes. When I select the shape, I'm going to see that I'm going to get a menu that's going to pop up. I can show this panel or I can hide this panel depending on what I want to manipulate. I'm going to go ahead and just show you inside this panel some of the things that I can do. First I can do is I can change this to any color that I want to. Do keep in mind, if I were to print this object, it won't print in the color that it is on my work plane. It would print the color filament that is loaded in the 3D printer. If I take a look at the length of this object, right now everything is set to millimeters. So right now this square is exactly 20 millimeters long, 20 millimeters wide, and 20 millimeters high. As I adjust these sliders, you will see that the shape changes. So right now I'm changing the length. I could also change the width, and I could also change the height. I could also see right here a radius. As I change the radius, it's actually going to change the radius on the edge of my square. So I can make something that's a little bit more of a rounded rectangle. Rather than having hard, sharp edges, I could create something that has a smoother edge. I can also manipulate this design inside of the design itself. So all of these here allow me to just simply move a slider. But if I wanted to have an exact measurement, it may be something that I want to manipulate myself. Like right now, if I hover over this grip in this corner, I can see the same numbers that are over here on the right-hand side. So it has a length of 51.8, and it's going to have a width of 58.69. Well, if I wanted to make these exactly 50, what I can do is I could then select the numbers here, and I could manually type those in. In order to show you that it actually is going to move, I'm going to make this 40, and when I hit enter, it's now going to make the width, or the length of this is going to now be 40. I'm going to change this to 40, and I'm also going to change the height to 40. So now what I'm going to have is I'm going to have a shape that is now going to be exactly 40 by 40 by 40. This works with all of the shapes. Depending on the shape that I have in my work plane, depending on the elements that are inside of my panel here. Now I can see the panel is going to change. The properties that I can adjust is going to change depending on the shape that I have on my work plane. So I can see that if I want to make this longer, it's actually going to make these fans longer. If I change my point width, I can see that this is actually going to grow the distance of my points, the number of blades that I have, and then I can change the angle on that blade as well. So with this one, I'm only going to have length, width, and height that I can manually adjust here. Over here on my panel, what I can do is I can change some of the other elements of that shape.